To the Frugal BC live stream. We are talking all things Algorand news, Hedera news, Near Protocol news, all other crypto news, and really interesting show today, and some breaking news before we even get started. We're gonna get back into this, but it doesn't look like anybody's on. But AlgoFi just announced it's winding down, so we are going to be talking about that at the top of the hour, top of our thing. That's going to be our top story today. So make sure to tune into that. If you're watching on Kick, leave some kind of notification that you were here. I want to see people who are talking on Kick, but we're going to talk Algorand price, of course, which is, doing about as well as it has been. Looking at the ASA charts, other Algorand price, crypto, Hedera price, near all those good ones. We're going to see where the crypto market is at. We're going to go through our DeFi Llama chart comparison. I totally forgot about it last week, but we will talk about that. Breaking news, AlgoFi is winding down. We are going to dig into that story right at the beginning, right after we get through the charts, so keep an eye out for that. Sega announces it's backing off its blockchain gaming plans despite being all in on it not that long ago. And we're going to take a look at the mysterious whale who is gobbling up a whole lot of Algorand, actually a very surprising amount of Algorand. And we're going to talk about Hedera surpassing 13 billion transactions, becoming one of the top digital ledger technologies in the space, as well as big news around Bitcoin miners. Bitcoin mining is back, baby. That's right. We're going to dig into that story because a big turnaround for Bitcoin mining. Also, some really great charts around crypto. I just thought this would be fun to go through. This comes from Crypto Trainer, friend of the channel. And Gala Games is going to be ending its Gala Gold lifetime membership. They're going to be going to a subscription model. We're going to dive into that and whether that's something that would be worth it for you. Before we do that, guys, if you're new to the channel, I'd love it if you hit the like button and subscribe as well. We got a lot of crypto news to bring at you today. Tons of stuff to talk about. If you want to look like super chats are open, by the way. So if you want to support the channel financially, feel free to leave a super chat at any time. I do try to answer everybody on this live stream. But at some point it'll probably become too busy and I won't be able to. Super chats, of course, will get top priority, but also just a nice way to support the channel. Otherwise, if you want to look cool like me, or let's be honest, probably a little bit cooler, you can get merch like this with the Frugal VC logo on it. And that is down in the description below. Also, check out our description for plenty of links to deals and other valuable products such as Ledger, such as Lofty AI. Plenty of cool stuff. Digital real estate down there. Plenty of cool stuff in the description to check out. Let's see. We got a couple people on, so welcome. Oh, they changed it now. Yeah, the thing is, they redesigned the platform here, so it's all different. Let's look at the charts really quick, and then we're going to talk about that breaking AlgoFi news. I was kind of debating. I've literally found that news. It is really breaking. It just happened about 30 minutes before I went live. Let's see, Bitcoin, down a little bit on the week, still above that $30,000 level, and Ethereum just a little under 1,900, down about 4% on the week. Everything's just kind of down a little bit, except for Solana, which keeps pumping. I don't know. Solana is just, you'd expect it just to be done, and it just keeps going. So, I'm not sharing. Probably help if I share my screen, wouldn't it? We're batting 1,000. Yeah, but like I said, you heard what I said about Bitcoin. Yeah, Polygon pumping up a little back into the 73, a little over 73 cents. Polkadot down. Most things are just down a little bit. So I'll just talk about what's bucking the trend. Avalanche up a little bit. Unisub Leo, that seems to be one of the ones that just does the opposite of what everything else is doing. Looks like my Cosmos is down a little bit. It's a bummer, as well as Chainlink. Little Dow sometimes is one of those ones that bucks the trend, but not this time. Down almost 11% on the week. Hedera down 2, sitting at 4.7 cents. E-chain down quite a bit. The graph really took a dip. Remember when the graph was neck and neck in market cap with Algorand? Now it's sitting there at number 40, even with that dip. Aave at down 4%. Stacks down a lot, but Algorand down 14%, so not able to take advantage of some of those other coins dropping. Market cap at 800,000. That's really, really low. And we got about 7.5 billion of the almost 7.6 of the 10 billion out there. Now one called BitDAO is working its way up, gunning for Algorand, as well as Bitcoin SV and EOS. Remember EOS? EOS is back, and they are not far off from Algorand, so it's kind of anyone's game here. Even the Sandbox and Optimism aren't that far away, but some of those are really close. So Algorand would have to do quite a bit to get back into the 40s. Under 40, back into the 30s, I should say. Have to go up 50% in market cap. So we're a ways off from that. What do we look at the ASAs? And we're really going to get that AlgoFi news really quick. In fact, I'm going to do that before I do DeFi Llama because we just got to dive into that. But chips down on the week. DeFi token really having a good week there. Good for DeFi. And Opulus as well. You may have heard my announcement last week, but Opulus is seeking out other chains to partner with. And whether they stay on Algorand is kind of a mystery at this point. It didn't sound like they were going to necessarily leave Algorand, just that they were going to expand out to other chains. Coop is up a little bit. Coop working number 4 in the market cap for a coin that didn't exist and not only about a third of the price of Algorand. For a coin that didn't exist at the beginning of the year, that's pretty incredible. Vestige coin up. Really seeing good price action for most of the ASAs, even Yieldy, which is a surprise, except for Cosmic Gold, sitting at about 1 cent. So but you can see the vast majority of them are up on the week, which is really, really interesting. Hope everyone's doing good out there. By the way, feel free to leave comments throughout the live stream, and we will address them as they come up. But I got to get to this story. Just before we went to air here, just learned about AlgoFi. It looks like it's going to be shutting down. That is a major protocol in the Algorand space. This is breaking news, just happened. So why don't I just dig into this and let's take a look at this story. And this is probably not an easy thing to write. AlgoFi says, hey, everyone, we have some unfortunate news to share regarding the AlgoFi protocol. After a lot of reflection, the team has recently come to the unfortunate decision to begin winding down the protocol. And as you can see, this is less than an hour ago. This was at 5:45. So just as I was getting ready to hit the log button, I found this, what I was waiting for 6:30 to roll around. We set out to use Algorand's strong technology stack to build fast, scalable, and affordable products. We achieved this goal building alongside you, the community who provided invaluable feedback, and for that we thank you. We also appreciate all of your support. That said, the team believes that going forward, we are no longer able to provide the support necessary to maintain the protocol at the high standards which we believe the community deserves. We will begin sunsetting the platform and put the platform in withdrawal-only mode. So we probably want to, at this point, you probably want to withdraw if you are able to withdraw. Our primary objective going forward is ensuring that these steps are carried out in a safe, clearly communicated, and timely fashion. Well, that's good. We haven't seen that from everybody, so glad to see that they're taking it seriously, that they're going to wind down. As they wind down, that they're going to be communicating with their community. That is absolutely key. We encourage you to reach out in the community Discord, where we'll be active. If you have questions related to the plan or a detailed explanation, please refer to our Medium post here. We're going to dive into that in just a second. This is obviously not the outcome any of us or the team or in the community hope for at the outset of the project. Yeah, of course, you don't start something hoping you have to wind it down. But this is what we see in the bear market. This is what happens. Companies start start not being able to operate. When the price of Algorand is so low, it makes it really, really difficult. It says, we can't thank the Algorand community enough for their support throughout this journey, and we can't wait to see what comes next for Algorand. Someone asked about the locked bank. It says, see the Medium post. This is really upsetting. Thank you all you've done for years. You guys are amazing. What about stable coin? Is that going away? Two, I think is it going away? If anyone looking for a new place for over collateralized stablecoin, come to XBacked. Super sad to see you guys leave, but no, it's largely out of your control. Have you considered a sale or transfer the platform to a non-US entity? I would even have some interest. Actually, it's interesting. That's a really interesting point, and we're going to dive into that Medium post in just a second here. But that's a really interesting point. I always see that these protocols are being wound down. Why don't any of them try to sell their platforms? I mean, like, it's possible, like, someone else could operate it and find a way to operate it profitably. Now, maybe not. Maybe it's just not possible, but it's actually kind of surprising that you never see any of them say, well, maybe we could try to, like, sell this thing. It's just a thought. Maybe it wouldn't go over well. I don't know. All right. I want to go back to this tab. It doesn't look like it says anything more. Okay, V1 lending, collateral factors of the VAlgo stable USDC, GoBTC, and GoETH markets will be reduced over several months to ensure liquidity migrates off. The reduction will follow the below schedule unless otherwise communicated. So there you can see all that. V2 lending, collateral factors of Algo, VAlgo stable 2, USDC LP, USDC, GoBTC, GoETH, etc., all reduced. Basically the same thing, and here's the schedule. So if you want to go to this Medium, it's blog.algofi.org, and I'm sure it's the very first post there. The current liquidity mining programs will be halted and no further proposals will be enacted. Voting escrow locks will be lifted. So one thing to mention about this, someone before was asking about how they were going to get their coins off of AlgoFi to vote for the next governance. And I wonder if that was sort of a precursor to this happening. Always sad news to see a protocol go under. We've seen a number of them this year in the Algorand space, and there's not much you can do about it. It's a bear market, and this is the kind of stuff that happens. And Algorand's ecosystem is really, really new. It just emerged. Just think about the beginning of 2022 is when we started having like Tiny Man, and we started to see some like Yieldly was going like the 6 months before that. But for the most part, the ecosystem really kind of kicked in 2022. So it's not that old. And that means you don't have a lot of time to get established before you start hitting a bear market like this, and a prolonged one. As you can see from all the red candles behind me, you can see how that goes. So very sad news about AlgoFi. I wish those guys well. I never really heard anything bad about them. I didn't use it a lot myself. It didn't really seem like it did what I needed to do, but I never heard anybody say something bad about it. So, kudos to them, and I hope they have some good luck later on. Well, let's compare this. Let's move on to our DeFi Llama section here. Oops, here we go. Get Prestige. I want you guys to take a look at this because I think this is really interesting. I pulled out DeFi Llama a couple weeks ago, and then I forgot last week, but I added Cardano because I was really, really curious how Cardano fared. And so Cardano is actually in yellow, believe it or not, and Algorand is in blue. So for a little while, at the beginning of the year, Algorand's TVL was actually the highest of Algorand, Near, Cardano, and Hedera. These are all ones that I like a lot. I'm not the biggest guy on Cardano. I didn't like how their ecosystem worked, but as you can see, Cardano has right now greatly surpassed Algorand, Near, and Hedera. And I think maybe that's because its price hasn't fallen as much, because that does affect pretty significantly the TVL. But that's still very significant, because to be growing like that in a bear market, it has to be doing something right, which is really, really interesting. And we're definitely seeing growth from Hedera. I mean, it's on the low side, but it's going way up compared to. It's mostly going up, maybe down a little bit in the last few months. Near's been dropping off. You can see Near really benefited from the bull market, and well, that wasn't even the bull market really. It's really been falling a lot since then. So very, very interesting just to look at those charts and see what they tell us. TVL is a really interesting metric, and I don't know how much stock I should put into it sometimes, to be honest, because it fluctuates so much. It'd be cool with the price of the coin. It'd be cool to see it somehow broken out where they could make it apples to apples in terms of like real users. Now there is an active user tab. It just doesn't seem to work for most of these coins, so they're not tracking it. So it is what it is, I guess. All right. Hope everyone's doing well out there. We got more news for you. So Sega announced that it is backing off of its blockchain gaming plans, and this was after it basically doubled down after people were criticizing it. Fans were criticizing it, and they said, no, we're going to go for it. Now they are backing off. Let's take a look at this story. Sega exec ICE's blockchain gaming plans calls play to earn boring. It's really it's so weird. Boring isn't the word I'd use. I've definitely have my criticisms of play to earn gaming, but they just mean the games in play to earn. Anyway, uh, gaming. I'll go down a little bit. Gaming veteran Sega, and Sega used to have platforms. They had the Dreamcast, they had the Genesis, etc., etc. Then they became a software company. Gaming veteran Sega has announced a strategic retreat from its blockchain initiatives to avoid what it's calling a devaluation of its content. The Tokyo headquarters studio, famous for titles including Sonic the Hedgehog and Virtua Fighter, won't be incorporating blockchain or crypto in its projects anytime soon, according to co-chief operating officer Shuji Utsumi. Sega also suspended plans to develop its blockchain-based games per Utsumi. Many had anticipated the company would follow rivals Ubisoft and Square Enix in exploring blockchain, NFTs, and potentially crypto. The action in play-to-earn games is boring, Utsumi told Bloomberg. What's the point if the games are no fun? Well, I agree with that. The executive said Sega is now waiting to see whether blockchain products were really going to take off within gaming. Yeah, really interesting points there, and interesting about Sega in general. They have a very interesting history where they almost were kind of mostly a failure, except for the American division is actually what pushed Sega. If you want to listen to a really interesting podcast on Sega, the Acquired podcast, they did a big long thing on Nintendo. I believe it was a 2-part series on Nintendo, but then they did like a side story on Sega. And Sega basically came from behind. Nintendo had 95% of the share of the gaming market, and Sega launched the Genesis, which was 16 bits, and it just destroyed Nintendo. Basically, they hired this CEO for their American division. He came up with a strategy. The Japanese execs didn't like it. They hated it, but they're like, you know what? We told you you'd be autonomous, so go do it. And if it fails, this is on you. Ended up being a huge success. They launched Sonic the Hedgehog, which went toe to toe with Mario. They marketed towards the teens to really grow, to really grow that market, because they get the cooler older kids into it, and then that would trickle down to the younger kids, which just seems to be what happened. They also caused a huge backlash when they started, games like Mortal Kombat. But definitely Night Trap, definitely caught the attention of legislators who weren't happy that these were being sold to kids. And then the rest is history. Eventually, they stopped listening to the American CEO and Kuklinski, I think his name was Kalinsky, something like that. They stopped listening to him, even though he was the one that made it work. And eventually, Sega faltered. So let's see. What's your opinion on algo locking for our government's rewards for 12 months? Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I've talked about this on here, Alex, and I appreciate the question. I'm just not a big fan of governance in general. I signed up for XGov just so I'm able to make videos on it and report on it, but I'm not a fan of it. I just don't think it works effectively. I think it's basically a way for a handful of whales to make decisions on Algorand. Our voices really don't count unless you have a huge bag. And so holding it for a really, really long time, I mean, you're basically locking this up. You're not going to be able to take profits during a bull run, which is kind of what you want to do. You don't want to just hang on to the stuff. If you're going to if it pumps, you want to like take some off the table and make some profit. And then whatever's left over, cool. If it goes up, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So like I said, I got just a handful in there just so I can keep seeing what's happening so I can report back to you guys, but I don't really like it as a mechanism. All right. Let's see what else we got. Let me just grab a drink here. So there is a mysterious whale. And when I say whale, I don't mean a sea creature. I'm talking about not talking about Shamu here. I'm talking about a giant wallet holding that is just gobbling up Algorand, and we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars worth of or hundreds of millions of algo, I should say, hundreds of millions of algo coin. And what's weird is it all started at the beginning of this year, and nobody knows where this wallet came from. So this one comes via AlgoGo, which is a funny name. So let me back up to the very beginning here. Well, that one's gone. Oh man, oh no, it's not. Here it is. Okay, so it started off. So this wallet address currently holds 418 million algo. That is 4.818% of all the algo there will ever be. That's a lot of algo. Interesting thing is their speed of accumulation in the last 7 days, they've added 38 million algo. On the 14th of February, it went from 0 to 240 million algo and has been on an accumulation spree since then. Somebody must know who this belongs to and why they are buying up so much Algorand. And he tagged Stacy, tagged the foundation. They are consistently picking up 10,000 algo with the odd 50,000 or 200,000 thrown in. They are using the current weakness in price to buy the ultimate bag. And then he asked, anyone hazard a guess? And Coop was thrown into that. John Allen Woods was. We're buying up all this Algorand, and we have no idea who it is. The wallet now holds 489 million algo, impressively buying over the last week upwards of 10 to 12 million algo per day. That's crazy. Reached out to other people again. Stacy Warden, who is the CEO of Algorand Foundation, for those of you who don't know, says we have no idea who this is or why they are accumulating so aggressively. We are watching it though, like you are, and thanks. So Algorand Foundation definitely paying attention to this. Allegedly, have no idea who it is. I'm fascinated. Someone made a joke that they thought it was Elon Musk waiting for a direct integration into his new X platform. Algo Nautilus says, "Oh, Gary," which is hilarious. John, and here's John Woods. John Woods, for you guys that don't know, is the Algorand Chief Technology Officer, and he's been interviewed on the show here before. Great dude. Says, we honestly don't know who owns this wallet. Of course, we have an idea regarding most big wallets, but not this one. Satoshi of Algorand. This person thinks it's Algorand Foundation itself. There's like a South Park reference. Yeah, it would be interesting if someone just bought up all this Algorand and burned it to raise the price, but That would be a huge act of self own if they'd have to like not care that they're doing that. It's the aliens buying Algorand. That is just wild that there's this whale that nobody knows who it is just buying up all this Algorand for no reason. Now it does make sense when you think about the price of Algorand right now. If you were going to buy in, probably a pretty good time to buy in because it will go up during the bull market. They always do. And then I thought this one was interesting too. So connected to that, someone put together like this really cool visualization of it, and there's not a lot to talk about with it other than to show it to you, but I'm going to show it to you. I think it's really neat. Do 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 do. This is from Daniel Schmidt.algo. So I got very interested. He meant to say interested in the mystery around the Algorand account. N2C blah 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 blah. So the starts with N2C in case you're curious. I tried to visualize their network usage. Here is a PyVis graph of what it looks like. So I don't know. I just think that looks cool. I don't know if it really tells you much, but it looks neat. Anyone say anything about it? Oh, this is interesting. So, okay, looking at the largest inflows, the majority of funds came from a wallet 7BZ, blah, 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 which is no longer active and was probably a switch in cold storage addresses. The owner primarily engages with engaged tag wallets, OKEx, Binance, and Binance 5. Along those lines, I believe they are also interacting with exchanges which are not tagged. Can anyone identify these exchanges as exchanges? I don't think anyone responded. From this network, it looks like there are maybe 3 or so accounts, QZL2, 42HA, and Heavy, which cycle funds through a cyclic set of 9 or so other accounts. So in addition to the 500 million and N2C3, there's also millions of algo still within related accounts. Overall, it looks like the whale account is cold storage for a market maker, which primarily works between OKEx and Binance, but also uses Huobi and smaller untagged exchanges. So it'd be great if some of those. It'd be great too if some of those exchanges could be tagged as this and this market maker identified. Also, special thanks to D13Co for the work on flow.algo.surf and AlgoNode for helping provide the data. Really, really interesting. So actually, I forgot there was actually a lot more within that story. That he didn't just have the data visualization, but he actually had some sleuthing that he had done on his own about this mysterious account. I'm super duper curious about it. If you guys know more, leave comments down below. Let me know, or if you just think it's interesting, leave some comments too. I think that's really cool, really interesting, I should say. Who knows what they're up to? Let's see. So let me just take a break. All right, here. So Hedera usage is surging. They just surpassed 13 billion transactions, and they've become one of the top digital ledger technologies in the space. So I'm a huge fan of Hedera and its hash graph technology. I think it's great. I think it's so useful, and I'm really bullish on Hedera just because so many big tech companies see a benefit in it, that they're willing to participate. You just see adoption with it that you don't see anywhere else. So I think that's always worth paying attention to. But now it's really, really growing, which is great. The company just keeps quietly churning out wins, and it has recently surged to 13 billion in transactions according to the latest reports. So coming on the heels of that, we have Saucer Swap, which just announced that its usage surging as well, with 1.2 million trades so far. Let's take a look at this news. Actually, I'm going to go. Hedera becomes top DLT, breaks records with 13 billion transactions. And a remarkable milestone for the Hedera network. It has surpassed a staggering 13 billion transactions on its mainnet while maintaining an impressive throughput of over 1,400 transactions per second. This extraordinary achievement has caught the attention of crypto analyst Credible Crypto, who took to Twitter, blah, 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 blah. Hedera recently took to Twitter to celebrate its impressive achievement of surpassing 13 billion transactions on its mainnet, accompanied by an outstanding throughput of over 1,400 transactions per second. The maximum TPS is 1542. No other DLT comes close, says Credible. According to the data provided by the new metrics page launched a few days ago, Archaea Metrics, the Hedera mainnet has recorded an impressive total of 13,015,649,812 transactions, while the Hedera testnet has seen 1.1.5 billion transactions and continued. And they're actually clocking in at a 1611 TPS. Pretty impressive, not as fast as Algorand, but going well. So very cool to see that. But then we also have good news from Saucer Swap. I didn't share that screen, did I? Dang it. I'm used to the one that just shares automatically when I make Zoom videos, but okay. Sorry about that. But Hedera is not alone in that. Also, Saucer Swap Labs is growing possibly as a result, at least connected to it, which is really neat. So now this is prominent despite launching in a bear market. Pretty impressive. Saucer Swap has facilitated over 1.2 million unique trades. Imagine if TVL, volume, etc. were to reach a similar ratio as total transactions in comparison to the largest DEX in DeFi. Here's the truth, aside from its technological innovations. Oh, I still didn't share it. Let me start that over. It was a long day today. All right, now this is promised by launching in a bear market. Saucer Swap has facilitated over 1.2 million unique trades. Imagine if TVL, volume, etc. were to reach a similar ratio as total transactions in comparison to the largest DEX in DeFi. Here's the truth. Aside from its technological innovations, one of the biggest advantages of Hedera is the strength and activity of the community. This is why Saucer Swap continues to climb the ranks on DApp Radar with over 7,000 monthly active users, top 25 of all DeFi protocols. That's pretty impressive. You know, Uniswap has 200 million. And nice to see a smaller chain like Hedera start to get a fraction of that. They're very excited. So I keep having good news, and I keep lacking bad news with Hedera, and it's good to see. I still think it's one of the best coins to buy for the next bull market. I think it will pump a lot. So keep an eye on that. Keep watching, and we'll see how that does. All right. I think because I didn't have Algorand or Hedera in the title, I'm not getting I don't think my live video went out to many people. So I just got a couple more for you. Sorry for drinking on the screen. I know it's kind of annoying, but so Bitcoin miners had a pretty rough year in 2022, but in the last quarter, they did better than the last 5 quarters before that combined. That's right. Bitcoin mining is back, baby. We're going to take a look at the charts and what you need to know. While Bitcoin has only grown 80% on the year, the mining revenues for many of these companies have grown more like 300%. That follows a terrible mining market in 2022, with mining companies owing a ton to banks. Now, why is that? Well, some of it might have to do with the development of a new type of NFT built on Bitcoin that you may or may not have even heard of. Let's take a look at the full story here. So this comes from Grit Crypto, which really puts together these really great charts here. It says, guess who's back making money? Bitcoin miners. Bitcoin is picking up and no one is happier than Bitcoin miners. Just look at the year-to-date stock price change of a few publicly listed Bitcoin mining companies. Marathon Digital up 350%, Hut 8 up 330, and Riot Blockchain up 300%. That is pretty crazy. Like I said, Bitcoin up 80% on the year. Goes as high as 88%, but which means things are going good for miners. Here's some bad news that happened in 2022. Compute North filed for bankruptcy, owing $500 million to creditors. Core Scientific filed for bankruptcy, paying a settlement of $20 million to its energy provider. December 2022, Argo Blockchain received a $100 million payout from Galaxy Digital, narrowly avoiding a bankruptcy. And January 2023, Bitfarms stopped making payments on its $20 million loan from bankrupt crypto lender BlockFi. Well, I guess they escaped to that one because, BlockFi went under anyway. Bitcoin miners were on the brink of absolute collapse at the end of 2022. Now they are back. In the previous quarter, Bitcoin miners received 184 million in transaction fees, according to Coinmetrics, which it's a big deal because look at quarter one in 2021, huge numbers, 400 some million. Then it drops to 65 in quarter three of 2021, and it just hasn't been in triple digits since then, getting as low as 28 million in quarter three of 2022. Now, at 184, it is more than the past 5 quarters. In other words, going all the way back to quarter one of 2022, all those combined, quarter two of this year was bigger. Here's a kind of a visualization of what that looks like. Some really, really good quarters way back in the middle of 2021, but otherwise really, really low numbers for most of that time. Pretty impressive in a bear market as well. So some developments are part of the reason why Bitcoin ordinals is one of the examples. Earlier this year, a new kind of craze took hold of the Bitcoin blockchain. It was the craze of NFTs on Bitcoin, called ordinals or ordinal inscriptions. I didn't even know about this. This is all brand new to me this week. So that was launched in December 2022, gained popularity in the first quarter of this year, made possible because of an upgrade to the Bitcoin network called Taproot, allowed people to inscribe media onto the smallest individual unit of a Bitcoin, which is a Satoshi, as 1/100 millionth of a whole Bitcoin. So we're talking photos, videos, pieces of text, all the stuff that you would do on a standard blockchain. You can now, or at least in terms of NFTs, now you can make basically an ordinal, which is a Bitcoin NFT. An inscription, I guess, is what they call it. Some stats for ordinals. 15 million ordinals have been inscribed on the Bitcoin blockchain. $54 million in fees to mint Bitcoin ordinals. 84% is the percentage of ordinals that are text-based inscriptions, and the trading volume of Bitcoin ordinals in quarter two, which is a 30x increase from quarter one, is $210 million. All this led to a massive usage of Bitcoin blockchain, driving up the fees paid to miners. Very cool. Also, non-fungible tokens, fungible tokens. Ordinals ticked up number one in quarter one. BRC20 ticked number two in quarter two. In March 2023, an anonymous Bitcoin developer introduced the Bitcoin Request for Comment 20 proposal. Under this proposal, users could embed JSON data onto ordinals and inscriptions, just like they could embed text and photos for ordinal NFTs. This allows developers to initiate token contacts, aka mint new tokens, add token contracts to blockchain, aka deploy new tokens, and so the BRC20 token standard and BRC20 tokens were born. That is just fascinating. So this is kind of a buried the lead situation, but actually that is a major development for Bitcoin and for the blockchain space. Because what happens when, that was kind of always the thing. There had to be all these other coins because Bitcoin was basically like digital gold and didn't have much else other use. But now with these additional capabilities, these inscriptions and ordinals, they actually now have kind of a use. That's really incredible. That's a big surprise to me, and something I'm going to have to dig into a lot more for sure. Okay. Yeah, one more for you. Oops, actually, I don't. I got two more for you. I lied. By the way, if my video goes out, it just means I got to switch batteries on my camera. You guys are quiet today. I wonder if I'm getting anything on Kick. I didn't even pull it up this time. I don't know. I keep streaming it to Kick just for fun, but they really don't have the tools to make it actually really useful, which is kind of a bummer. So, friend of the channel, Crypto Trainer, who is somewhat active in the Algorand space as well as some others, he put together this list of really cool crypto charts, and I thought it'd be really fun to share. So, I thought we'd just go through that before our final one about Gala Gold. The trainer says, I can tell you exactly where crypto is going, charts that every crypto investor should cement in their minds. MVRV score helps ID when Bitcoin is overvalued, undervalued, buy green, sell red. According to them, we're in red right now. I kind of doubt it though. We'll see. So according to that, it's been in red for a really long time. Crypto versus internet adoption, crypto space. We'll see 1 billion users in the next 5 years. It's not a matter of if, but when. Yeah, we'll see. Just because one thing did it at a certain rate doesn't mean everything will do it at a certain rate. I think that's a little misguided. Metcalfe's law, which connects the value of a network to its volume of users. Crypto is adding users faster than any technology in history. With added users comes exponential added value. So that's really interesting. I've heard of Metcalfe's law. I don't, it looks complicated, but network is the entire reason why crypto has value. Well, I shouldn't say the entire, but it's really important. Bitcoin active addresses, adoption is growing. The rest is just noise. Yes, you can see the addresses are growing. That's good news. It's good to see. Well, multiple looks at the value of Bitcoin through mining revenue. Green, BTC is undervalued. Expect positive returns. Take away, buy green, sell red. Oh, is that the little? That's the chart underneath. If it's red, so right now it's kind of in the middle. Hope this data can help you if you're unfamiliar. I should look at the other one. Was I wrong about that one? It was in the green. Now it's just a little bit off the green. Okay, yeah, then I would say that's probably pretty accurate. So we were in green territory. But if you buy here, you're still making money, right? I mean, as long as you're not in the red. Sites I love to use for data is Glassnode. I've looked at that one. Look into Bitcoin, Nasari, CryptoQuant, and Coinbase research. Yeah, probably some ones that I should probably look at more often too. So good reminder. Pretty decent selection of charts. I just always caution, like, don't let the charts dictate your actions too much, because sometimes they don't follow the way. A lot of times, actually, things don't go the way you think they're going to go. That's my only caution around that. All right, one last thing I'm going to talk about, and that is the Gala Gold program. So a lot of you guys know Townstar is one of the only play-to-earn games that I'm still playing. I really like the game, and now the company behind it just announced that they're canceling their lifetime Gala Gold membership, which you used to be able to get for $50. They're going to be turning that into a subscription model, where you'll have to pay either by the month or by the year. Don't really know what yet. So we don't know when this is changing. We don't know how much it's going to be, but it hasn't changed yet. So for those who do want to get in on a Gala Gold membership, which is $50, but you have to pay in Gala, just to be clear, and just also to be clear, I am not telling you necessarily to do this. I don't know if I would do this again. I did buy it back in the day. What do you get with Gala Gold? You get at least one Townstar NFT. You get the Express Depot, which gives you faster sell times for your products. And supposedly it earns. I don't know if I wonder if the new versions will earn. I'm not 100% sure about that. The old one did, so I don't see if it's the same NFT. It should earn once they turn earning back on, whenever that will be, which we don't know. But you get that, and I've got one Superior NFT and one for Meow Match, which I have never played. I've actually never played Superior either. I'm told that the other two, that pretty much the stuff that people get for these other games are decorative, so they don't actually do anything in the game, which is kind of a bummer, because that's not really the way Gala kind of sold that when they sold the gold membership. And you get some special privileges in Discord. You get to have your name a different color. And I guess you're supposed to get access to a specific Discord discussion group that no one else does. I didn't even know about that until I was researching this for the show. So it shows how much they really push what they're selling here. Okay, so yeah, I guess so. So the question is, is Townstar Gala Gold membership worth it? It might be if you're interested in Gala games, it would probably be a good idea to get in now so you can pay one fee and then have the lifetime membership versus paying a subscription. If they were to convert that where everyone had to have a subscription, I definitely would not do it. But for $50, I guess I wouldn't take my $50 back. I would probably just keep the membership, but I'm probably not ever going to buy another Townstar NFT. And in case you're wondering about Townstar, I haven't given a Townstar update in a while because I just don't think there's been a lot to say. We're still in May Mayhem, even though it's July. It goes on for a long time. And one of the best features that was supposed to come with Godot is the offline mode. Well, the offline mode got shut down after a week, after one competition, because it wasn't working right. And so I don't know. They don't know if it's going to be live for this competition this week, but we'll see. So it's been a little frustrating because that's like the one thing that I wanted out of their new version on the Godot engine. It's also this earn is supposed to be turned back on at some point. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath. And also, like, you can earn Gala playing in May Mayhem in the competitions if you place high or you meet certain criteria. I was pretty close last time to getting in the top 1,200, so I'm going to try again this week. But the problem with offline, the reason I was so excited about offline play is that you could have your town operating while you're not having it pulled up actively, which is nice because you know it's operating overnight when you're sleeping instead of having to leave your computer on. For days on end. I don't really like doing that. The whole reason Algorand's such a great thing is because it's a green blockchain, and then I'm going to turn around and have this computer running 24/7 just to play this game. So I was really excited. Also because I could leave it play while I do stuff, whereas there's a lot of people who seem to have a lot of free time in their hands where they can just have this game running 24/7 and be playing it the whole time. So yeah, a little disappointed with Townstar. Also, now the most recent development is that the leaderboard hasn't been working. So the last game I played, I had people ahead of me with like 20 stars, and I had millions. So very interesting. They sorted it out in the back end, but it is nice to know like where you actually ring versus, in this thing, it's kind of chaos. Like, you're higher up than they're giving you, but there's a bunch of people ahead of you that shouldn't be ahead of you. It's really awkward. And one of the other things, this game really is still in beta, despite being around for like 2 or 3 years. So one of the things is that you can't even tell when the buildings are crafting. They're supposed to have this little Z's coming up when they're dormant versus when they're crafting. Unfortunately, it's been malfunctioning ever since the Godot version launched. So And then communication has always been a little difficult for Townstar. They really kind of talk down to their users instead of with them, and the communication is really poor. They bury all their news in these hour long AMAs, so you have to sit through a lot of nonsense if you really want to collect the news. Thanks to Dubstep Rob, who's been taking the time to listen to a lot of these and distilling them down to short videos so people can watch it and get on with their life instead of having to listen to an hour of nonsense to get 1 minute of news. And by the way, if you want to learn how to play Townstar, Dubstep Rob on YouTube is definitely the way to go. So I highly recommend him. Can't recommend him enough. Does good stuff. But otherwise, yeah, I hope hope you guys are doing well out there. I think that's it from me this week. Really quiet chat today. Well, I think a lot of it's I didn't have Algorand or Hedera in the title, so I didn't get a lot of my usual audience, and that's okay. Definitely a lot of good stuff. I usually take clips out of these anyway and post them throughout the week, so all good. If you guys are new to the channel, I don't know who's all on today, but if you're new here, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of great stuff that we put out during the week. I do my Algorand DeFi experiment. We're on week 16, and actually next week will be 17. So we've been doing this for over 3 months now. Actually, over 4 months, which is pretty impressive. So really interesting data collecting there. Oh, Cara de Momo, how are you doing, man? Good to see you. I was just kind of wrapping things up. I was saying I was wondering where all the usual suspects were today. Are you guys buying Algorand at these prices? I'm thinking about picking up some more. It's pretty low. It's sitting at 11 cents right now. Might even break below 11. I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna play some. I was gonna try to end the stream by playing some Fractal Monsters, but I couldn't get it to work on my laptop. It seemed to be a Para wallet issue, which is really, really frustrating. So I've been playing it on my mobile phone now. I figured out how to do that, so that's nice. I think Fractal Monsters is the one play to earn game that's actually going well. And on Algorand, Alchemon was doing all right, but they're canceled. Yeah. Oh God, I didn't even talk about Algorand governance today. Yeah. If you do want to vote for Algorand governance, make sure you go to governance.algorand.com and make sure you get signed up if you want to sign up. I'm going to sign up. So here's what I do for governance. I've been putting like 10 algo in just so, not because I care about the rewards, because I definitely don't. Just so that I'm signed in and logged in, so I can see what's going on, so I can report back on what's going on with XGov. Wasn't super impressed with the last XGov, so we'll see about this one. Yeah, so that's my thought on governance. Also, I just don't like my Algorand locked in like that. I like to be able to use it for stuff. So yeah, I guess that's about it this week. Kind of a short, didn't quite make it an hour, but we got through the news quick because I didn't have a lot of people asking questions like usual. So kind of, like I said, kind of a quiet chat, but good. Thanks for everyone who tuned in. I appreciate it, guys. And if you're watching on Kick, thank you for watching there. I hope you left a comment or something, because pretty quiet over there. Well, as always, I'm Frugal BC, and I will see you